Hi guys, welcome to the Market Code Breakers. I'm Leon, where every night I break down one asset and give you key areas to look forward to going into tomorrow's session. Last night I gave you the Nasdaq, and some very important things happened. A lot of the areas that I called out yesterday came into effect, and I'll quickly dive into that to give you a breakdown of what I showed you yesterday and how that impacted the markets going into today. So, oops, wrong button. So, here you can see the Nasdaq. This is the price action that we've had for today. Now, in yesterday's video, I'll leave a link to the description. You can go and check that video out for yourself. I said that, first of all, I want to make it clear that when you're looking at price, you need to be looking at it in terms of ranges, okay? I work with the right ranges that the banks and institutions use. So that gives me accurate levels that I can gauge price from. So yesterday I made a call out on a few levels. I expected price to reach in the Asian session, and then I expected to see a reaction from these points. The reaction that I called out yesterday, I said it might only get to the lowest bound of this range, which would reach the 20,240 zone. And that's precisely where we got the reaction from in Asia. I said that is the area that I'd be looking to run some shorts. I am a funded trader with Top Step, and I took some trades based on the setups that I was giving out yesterday. And what happened was, I called out that this big green range is coming into play. New York played it from Friday, and I expected more of it I expected the range to be completed today, but that didn't happen. The full range didn't get completed. So this range that we're playing in now is definitely a longer time frame type of range. The type of range that it takes them several days to complete, but they're gradually working their way down to the bottom of this range. And what I said I expected in that session was for price to reach up and then react and then work its way down to the bottom end of that range. So in the Asian session, we had price initially gap down. It was quite an aggressive gap down, and then price started to climb back up, and it started to stay around the midpoint of this green range. And I found that to be very important, because with that green range showing significant signs of importance in previous sessions, I knew that with this collection of orders that were being placed at the midpoint of this, price was going to send it up. So I took a trade on that logic, and once I saw this reaction at the lower bound of this red range, which I highlighted in yesterday's video, that's where I decided to take my profits. Now in that video I was talking about price is likely to react from this point, and that's exactly what we get here. And you would have been right to take the short based on that call out, and you would have been handsomely rewarded. It was the actual trade of the day. And let me just very quickly, I just need to make this less full screen. So if you'd have taken that short, you know, at the best possible point, you would have got 900 ticks from that. So it was a very key area that I highlighted yesterday in yesterday's video. So what do I expect now going forward from the Nasdaq? I'll very quickly explain what I expect. I said that this green range has been coming into play for the past 2 days now, and I'm fully expecting in tomorrow's session price to work its way down to the bottom end of this range. Now, there's a few key areas that you can expect to see reaction from based on that, and that would be the bottom of this green range, which would take us down to 19,978, I believe it was, 977. That's the completion of that green range. So if you'd have taken any shorts up the top end of this range, that's where you would be looking at taking profits from. But there's a few key areas where it might want to react from in order to send price up, and I'm fully expecting of overall by the end of the week price to be a lot higher than it is now. And the reason for that is this behavior in this red range. The New York showed intentions inside of this red range on the Friday session, and they never leave a range incomplete. It's always a signal that they're going to come back for it. So with that being said, what I expected to see, and I said this in yesterday's video, is price to work its way down. I did want to see some sort of confirmation from like Asia or London. We sort of got that sort of confirmation in the fact that Asia did not want to break into that red range. They didn't want to play it, but they did break into it just a little bit, and they did give these precise touches of the bottom end of this range from above. This is on the 1 minute chart. This can be a signal that they want to come back for this range. New York have already signaled that they want to come back for it, but now Asia is also leaving that mark behind. that this is how they communicate when it comes to this is how they communicate price action when it comes to these ranges. They communicate with subtle, precise touches, and you have to be alert to be able to spot them. And that's what Asia have left behind. So I'm fully expecting a price to go up. But before it does that, I do think that this green range is going to get completed first. So price is going to work its way down. It could break into these lower ranges below. If it breaks into these lower ranges below and we're certain of price going up, you'd want to see whatever range it breaks into, you'd want to see them complete that. So the next range that I've highlighted down below is this range. This range dates back from a few weeks ago. This is when the range was set. And if they do manage to break below this 19,967 and they get to the midpoint of this range at 19,908, I would fully expect them to complete that range before they make their way back up. So that's something to pay attention to going into tomorrow's session on the Nasdaq. But yeah, once they start making their way back up, they've got a lot of room to go. They could complete this red range that they've left incomplete now for a couple of days, and they could keep climbing up into higher ranges. This story I expect to build over the course of the week, and it may not be until Thursday when price actually releases itself and starts to make that aggressive climb up. But I'm fully expecting that to happen based on what we've seen so far. So in yesterday's video, I did say to you guys that today I was going to break down oil for you. So let me very quickly, I've pulled out a few key levels that might come into effect in tomorrow's session. And if any of you guys are going to be trading oil tomorrow, these are key areas that you need to pay attention to. So in today's session, from the start of this session, from the start of Asia, and then going into New York, they basically played this yellow range, and you can see how precisely they've done it. So if you was familiar with this range beforehand, you would have seen this break above retrace to the bottom end of this range during the Asia session. You'd have been right to take that long. Did I just move that range? I did, didn't I? You would have been right to take that long with the target of the completion of the range, and that target would have hit, and it would have hit by midday. But this is UK time. It would have hit by 11:30. So it would have been 9 hours in the trade, nine or so hours in the trade. But you would have completed that range. So that would have been the best trade to take for that day for yesterday on oil. Going into tomorrow on oil, this is a key area down here. So I want you to mark off these areas from 71.30 to 70.82. Use your Fibonacci. Use your Fibonacci and just have 3 points. So the top, the bottom, and the middle point highlighted. And make sure you extend that right. And I want you to highlight this area 70.31 to the lows of 70.81. And that's going to give you a range to work with for tomorrow. Now, what I would expect to see is I'm fully expecting a price going up into this region. And that might happen tomorrow. But I think before it does that, I think you're going to see a reaction at one of these points. Now, it could be the height of this blue range, which would give you a reaction at the 71.30 area. Or it could be the midpoint of this zone at the 71.06, or it could be the low end of this range. If it's the lower end of this range and you get a clear reaction, then you definitely would be, then the banks and the institution will be looking at placing their loans there. I highly recommend that it's better to be aware of what the banks and institutions are doing, and that's what these ranges give you. The banks and institutions, they work in terms of ranges. They do everything that you think you know about price doesn't matter to the banks and institutions. All they care about is specific ranges, price ranges, and these are the ranges that the banks and institutions work with. So I'm highlighting a few areas that you should pay attention to tomorrow. If price was to break up into this red zone before coming down, then the potential point where you might get a reaction from it at the highs would be the 70.56 area. So if price makes an aggressive move up during the Asia session, I'd be looking at potential reactions in that area on oil, and that's going into tomorrow. So I want to just quickly break down my trading and how my trading went for the day. As I said, I am a funded futures trader on Top Step, and yesterday, based on what I said to you on the Nasdaq, which was here. Actually, this is my charts. This is how my charts look. I have access to all the ranges, so I'm fully aware of the whole story of price and how it can develop, and what ranges they are playing in and what ranges they're rejecting, etc. And if you was to take longs on the Nasdaq, the best places would have been down in this region, because you can see this is the purple range, reaches down below. They clearly rejected going into that purple range. That's them saying we don't want to play that range. Then when they came back down to that area again, there's another blue range top that is just slightly above that. Again, they rejected that. They said we don't want to play those ranges. So all that they could do after that is go up. But they still haven't completed this green range yet, and they have been playing it for a couple of days now. So I'm fully expecting of that green range to play. So on Top Step, I will show you the trade that I took based on what I said to you yesterday. So this is my Top Step account. It says $263 I'm in profit. Okay, this is after 2 days worth of trading. So Friday I was down $321. A bit of a bad day on Friday. I was trying to scalp between the ranges, and I didn't pay attention to the bigger picture. Made a mess of it. But anyway, today I took one trade on this account, and I was in 3 micros on that trade. Only 3 micros, and I managed to pull out $585. I think that was close to 400 ticks that I managed to pull out, and that was in the Asia session, and that was based on price working this green range and hovering around the midpoint of this green range after coming from below back above and retesting it from above. I've already called out that price I'm expecting price to make its way up, so I took a trade on that logic, and that was the point where I took my profits around this area. So that's just a breakdown of how my day went. Hopefully, if any of you guys did pay attention to the levels that I called out yesterday, you did manage to capitalize on them. This is the type of precision that you can expect to see when you're working with the accurate ranges. So this was another range that I had on my charts yesterday, which was clearly visible for you guys. Now, price worked its way down and it didn't manage to complete this range. When it came up and give you this precise touch of the top, that was your signal then that they're going to want to, this range is fully being confirmed as being in play. They'd already touched from the midpoint here precisely with this precise wick touch here, and they touched the highs with this precise wick touch again. So you would have been right after seeing this touch of this midpoint and see this touch of this highs to take that short with the intention of them completing this range. That again would have netted you a further 300 ticks on that trade, and that was a very good trade. That was actually during the London session, and I believe that would have been the trade of the London session. That was the range that London session wanted to work with, and that's the range that they completed. If they show signs that they want to play in the range, it's highly likely that they complete that range on that given day. Apart from certain circumstances like we see above with this red range, where they leave that range incomplete, that is a signal. That's a form of communication that they leave behind, signaling to the other banks, the other institutions around the world, like, hey, we've left this range incomplete. We are going to complete this in the future, so it's best that we move price away from it. We load up our longs, and then when we come back to that range, we're highly likely that we're going to blast right through it up into higher ranges. So that's them are the signals that they leave behind to each other. So I'm trying to give you the information of how they're communicating price action, and it's not like what you thought it was before. This is the truth of the market, okay? And when you start to see it behaving in a way that's so beautiful, so precise, and so predictable, it will really open your eyes into that there is a different world to trade in. That we guys, we're not supposed to know that. There's only one person that I've seen online, and his name was Scott FX. I believe it was Scott FX, and he's an old school bank institutional trader, and he was trading many years ago. And one of the things that he learned is that the banks and institutions, they're all working together towards the same levels and the same ranges, and they're banking on us as retail that we don't know these ranges. And those who know, and those that don't are liquidity. Those are his words. So when you see these ranges behaving so beautifully precise in the way that he describes that they should, you know you've got the right ranges. So these are the ranges that the banks and institutions use, guys, and this is what I'm trying to highlight to you with key areas for you to take forward into tomorrow's trading sessions, so you can be better informed and make better decisions based on the price action that you're witnessing unfold before your eyes. So yeah, that's everything for this video, guys. If you've got any assets that you want me to break down tomorrow, leave them in the comment section and I'll take a look at them. But yeah, it's been a great day trading for me. I hope you guys had a good day trading as well. I wish you the best of luck trading in tomorrow's session. I'll give you some key areas on the Nasdaq and on oil to pay attention to. So best of luck with those ranges. Bye for now, guys. Thanks for watching.